Are we all a little sick of all the Pascal Siakam stuff that's being thrown out there? Like probably, right? Like just a little bit. But at the same time, it keeps getting thrown out there. There's new information again and again. And I am going to comment and report on it. So here we are. What's up, everybody? It's JJ Buckets. Yeah, there's been more stuff on Pascal, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Before I fully get into things, obviously, usual drill, just make sure you're leaving a like on the video, subscribe if you're new here, plus if you plan on doing any responsible sports betting in the near future, just make sure to check out my link in the description below. So Marc Stein has been dropping a lot of bombs on the whole Siakam situation, so bear with me here because there's a lot to get through. I'm going to read through it. I think the big highlights were that Stein is reporting it's increasingly conceivable that Siakam could be moved. The Raptors are indeed far more prepared to surrender Siakam than initially realized. Siakam is one of the three players probably moving along with Harden and Lillard. And then with Stein's kind of own interpretation on things, he said, "My read is that the Raptors, in wake of Fred VanVleet's free agent departure to Houston, are eager to give even more runway to Scottie and OG under Darko Rajakovic, yeah." Wow. there's a few other things that I'm going to cover a little bit later as well, but like, yeah, I mean, if you're asking Marc Stein, it looks like Siakam's as good as out the door, and it's pretty much a matter of when and not a matter of if at this point. It seems like there's kind of a deadlock between the fact that, I mean, if you ask me, based on at least these reports, it doesn't seem like the Raptors are willing and wanting to give Siakam the extension that obviously he's going to be eligible for. And of the two options of giving him the extension or trading him and recouping value, trading him and recouping value for Pascal Siakam really does seem like the more likely path that's going to be followed at this point, which, I mean, it's up to, I guess, whoever's watching to determine whether or not they think that's a good or a bad thing. Like, me personally speaking, in this sense, I really don't mind the Raptors heading into a bit more of a harder rebuild and going towards the young guys a little bit more because, again, I'm somebody that questioned the ceiling of this unit, you know, throughout the season last year, at the trade deadline. So I personally don't mind the approach of, you know, leaning a little bit into the younger guys and, you know, seeing if an OG Anunoby can flourish in a bigger role, a Scottie Barnes can flourish in a bigger role. Now, does that mean obviously that you're gonna get, you know, maybe a season or two or however long it is of just this team not being a good team? Like, yeah, probably. That's in all likelihood the outcome that you're going to be staring in the face. But you got to remember, like, that's okay. Rebuilds are a good thing a lot of the time because it gives you a chance to accumulate high-end talent. And with the Raptors, you know, history of successful development, I think that's something that you can genuinely be excited about. It's an approach that I really don't mind for this team. I think it can yield a very positive result. It's just going to be one that really practices patience, both amongst the organization and I would say the organization's fans. But I really, personally speaking, wouldn't mind it. And there are teams further emerging as it seems like the Pascal, you know, Siakam trade market is coming together. There are teams that are coming into the picture that maybe we wouldn't have thought. We've had reports that the Indiana Pacers are, you know, taking calls now. They're, you know, potentially interested in going for Pascal Siakam, and they've got some interesting pieces there that could be really fun to envision on Toronto. And they've obviously got a little bit of draft capital as well that they can play around with and obviously send Toronto's way. On top of that, this is a weird one to me personally, but the Orlando Magic have also been included in the Pascal Siakam rumors of late, which that one is weird. In my opinion, that one is very weird because, you know, you already have Paolo Banchero there, you already have Franz Wagner there who kind of play more or less the same spot that Siakam does, so it'd be interesting to see what kind of uber tall lineup that Orlando envisions kind of with adding Pascal Siakam into the fold there. But regardless, their name is in there. And again, another team that can probably give you some very quality assets. Like, I think there's a decent amount to look forward to here. And again, like, if this is the direction that the franchise is going to take in terms of a rebuild, again, personally speaking, A-okay with me. And like I know for fans, sometimes it's just really not fun being a fan of a rebuilding team, but I think once you get down the line and, you know, your team is back into that position of being a championship contender because of the rebuild, you're even more thankful sometimes for, you know, the years that you suffered through that rebuild. Because, I mean, hell, look at somebody like OKC, right? Like, obviously their rebuild isn't fully over, and I don't think Toronto is going to have an OKC level of rebuild, don't get me wrong, where they accumulate like 17 first round draft picks or whatever they topped out at one cumulative time. But, you know, OKC blew it up after, you know, the Russ and the PG experiment just very clearly was not working. And look at the position they find themselves in now, right? They have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's arguably like on the cusp of being a top 10 player. You know, they've got Josh Giddey flourishing really nicely. Jalen Williams has been a nice piece that they found along the way as well. You still have a chance to see what Chet Holmgren looks like this season now that he's going to be healthy. Like, things are coming together for them. They were seemingly ahead of schedule last year with what they got, right? And again, I'm not saying it's going to be a one-to-one in terms of what Toronto does and stuff like that. I'm just highlighting this example for you in terms of rebuilds are a good thing. So I guess don't be upset with the immediate suckage in the near future if that is something that we are looking forward to, because down the line it'll feel like it's worth it. At least that would be my hope. If this is the path indeed that they are going to travel in terms of a rebuild, cool, let's do it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much been me for the day. There's been so much Pascal Siakam stuff dropping lately, and again, like, I genuinely hope you folks aren't sick of it. Like, there's a small part of me that's like, every time I see something new on Siakam, I'm like, ah, shit, here we go again. But I mean, it's obviously going to be big news every time that we get one of these reports, right? Like, Pascal Siakam's the best player on the team. He's one of the best players in franchise history. So the magnitude of him potentially moving on to his new team and potentially getting moved and all the trade talk and stuff like that, it's going to be stuff that's naturally talked about, you know, discussed, and in my case, put on camera. So you're going to get probably more of it, is what I'm saying. But yeah, it's been me for the day. It's been JJ Buckets, reiterating the usual drill. If you haven't done so already, it takes like a second, so like the video. It's a great help to the algorithm, and I do really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new here as well. And yeah, that's been me. It's been JJ Buckets. It's been a pleasure, and I will see everybody next time.